Today, I want to talk about Elon Musk, and this piece of footage of him from the inauguration of the brand new and once again American president. Now, Mr. Musk has been splashed all over the headlines for the following piece of footage, where he was addressing a crowd, where he, in his own words, was trying to thank the crowd and saying his heart went out to them. And he did this seemingly through the medium of this ill-advised gesture.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you.
This caused a furious response from politicians and the press, including the UK paper The Guardian, who asked, did Elon Musk do a nasty salute or a Roman salute there? And firstly, I want to answer that one for them. So which one is it? Well, it turns out that's difficult to answer because nobody seems exactly sure of what either of those things are. That's right, confusingly, multiple different definitions exist for both of those terms. But if we take the nasty salute to mean a person lifting their right arm straight in front of them, palm down, fingers together and raised at a 45-degree angle, that's how it's described on this article from the Cambridge University Press. And here's that gesture being modelled by an Austrian gentleman. YouTube may not like me talking about him too much because it turns out that if you go back and read the history, this guy had a bit of a checkered past. And something about the sheer British understatement of that line just makes me laugh. As Norm MacDonald said, the more I learn about that guy, the more I don't care for him. And I'm struck by how on every picture I look at of that guy, quite how camp he ends up looking. What even is that stance? He looks like he should be stood outside a leather bar. But that definition from the Cambridge University Press seems to be pretty accurate because I went and looked at footage from the film Triumph of the Will, taken during Nuremberg, and that's overwhelmingly what I saw. Thousands upon thousands of period Germans doing exactly that. Also, there was the camp guy doing whatever the hell this is. I can only imagine the other German guys watching and talking behind his back, saying things like, "Hey Herman, shall we tell him how camp and silly that makes him look?" Nah, it's funnier this way. And the Roman salute appears to be much the same thing, but with the arm either higher or lower in angle. Once again, nobody seems able to make their mind up. So comparing both of these things to what Elon Musk did, Elon Musk's arm is at his side there, raised at maybe a 35-degree angle. So let me see now. To answer The Guardian, well, he did neither of them, did he? What he did is arguably closer to a dab as a gesture than it was a nasty salute. I can't help but notice that in the leading question that was The Guardian's headline, they didn't list neither of them as an available option. Oddly, nobody's even talking about the one Elon did when his back was turned, which looks like it was a lot closer. I kind of get second-hand embarrassment from The Guardian because press worldwide covered this story, and out of every headline I read, The Guardian's was by far the most biased. Even Al Jazeera managed more journalistic integrity than The Guardian did with this story. I suppose I shouldn't even be shocked. The one surprise is that the YouTuber Metatron has not done a video on this yet. I even find it disproportionately difficult to research this subject on Google, because period footage of the 1940s is quite hard to come by, and I don't want to view much of it for fear I may get put on a watch list. There was also the secondary problem that all of the top search results for anything even slightly related to this subject were all articles about Elon sodding Musk, to the extent I ended up having to do advanced searches to expressly exclude the word Elon. So when the Anti-Defamation League say this is a delicate moment, it's a new day and yet so many are on edge. Our politics are inflamed and social media only adds to the anxiety. It seems that Elon Musk made an awkward gesture in a moment of enthusiasm. I'm with the Anti-Defamation League on this one. Calm the hell down. But they maybe should have explained how they got to this conclusion, and a somewhat rare moment of moderation there from the ADL. It probably does just come down to Elon Musk being more than a bit weird, and according to him autistic, and not thinking about how his movement would be interpreted. For me that seems a lot more likely than, what? Some grand plan to achieve something? I'm not even sure what. Let's just pretend for a moment that The Guardian were entirely correct, and Elon Musk was doing an intentional Roman salute. Firstly, why did he do it wrong then? This is a man that runs a company involved with rocket science. You'd think he could manage to lift his arm in the right way, no pun intended. And what was his motive supposed to be exactly? Because I've got nothing apart from 1, he may have done it intentionally to troll people, or 2, to deliberately get people to defame him so he can humiliate or sue them. If that was the plan, it may just have worked. For a Roman salute, some people tend to think of something more like this, taken from the TV series Rome, and that does bear a bit more resemblance to what Musk did. It's a closed fist pressed to the chest first, as opposed to Musk having an open hand. Most likely Musk was going for a hand on heart kind of gesture to signify sincerity or honesty. If my supposition is right on that one, it's kind of sad that's not how a lot of people saw it. But the odd thing is that many historians seem to be of the opinion that as far as the Roman salute goes, there seems to be little evidence that the ancient Romans ever did it. There was also no evidence that I could find either that this was a thing the ancient Romans ever did. I just found a lot of historians saying it's probably never happened outside of films. And that's for any of the definitions of this salute. Ooh, how about that other thing Romans are supposed to have done, the shaking hands by grabbing each other's forearms? Well, there doesn't seem to be any evidence of that existing outside of films either. The evidence seems to point to the Romans shaking right hands as a form of greeting, pretty much exactly like we do, saying salve or ave, or greeted each other with a kiss. So we have a thing called the Roman salute that the Romans don't seem to have ever have done, and instead the originator of this idea may be a French painting called the Oath of the Horatii, painted in 1784 by Jacques-Louis David. It's kind of unclear when this arm-raised gesture even started being used, but the earliest version I found was actually in America and named the Bellamy Salute for Francis Bellamy, the writer of the US Pledge of Allegiance. This salute dates from 1892 and was a gesture to the US flag to go along with the pledge. Then events started to happen in Europe, and a very similar gesture was taken on by Benito Mussolini's Italy around 1925, and it appears to have started because some Italians saw it in a film, specifically the 1914 Italian silent movie Cabiria. And this may again illustrate the danger of people learning history from heavily fictionalised movies. It turns out you end up with people thinking Wakanda is a real place in Africa. The salute seems to have become popular as an alternative to the handshake in Italy of the time, because according to this quote, attributed to one Achille Stalace, it was more hygienic, more aesthetic and shorter when compared to a bourgeois handshake. It also had the convenient effect of linking the nascent Italian nationalist movement and trying to make it an extension of ancient Rome. By 1942, the American government decided that it would probably be a good idea to stop using that raised arm gesture and switch to a hand on heart gesture for the Pledge of Allegiance instead. So this whole Elon Musk thing seems to come down to a problem of some people confusing history and reality with things that they saw in fictional TV shows. Also confirmation bias and political opportunism, and I may never cease to be amazed at people's almost infinite capacity to believe things that strongly appear to be complete knackers.
If you only knew the power of one, the power of two, the power of many.